后港区的选民、甲北斗来的选民，大家好。我是彭英发吼，后港区的候选人。这头口说的代志，你能听得会懂无？伫国会讲，伊的部长讲安怎？有人共人党伊个人伊个公司路标准，伊 MF 安怎哩悬？人个安怎哩加？所以人安尼加，人有人安尼加，安尼加，用这个钱拍无。所以有人看，伊互咱一张单，伊互咱看，BAB 有14个头口说。所以你看，价钱无相哦。你看有诶单用八甲单本尼比啦，啊顶单用八甲比单本尼现超价要到38甲是48%，安尼这是咪累拍无咱家己，对无？这是阮甲伊讲了，路标咧是一注尔，一注路标一摆落是3年，所以2012标到来是2015。咱阮人个前面有问，讲这个价钱安尼价，咱查出咧2014是因人个价钱本来是无清正哩多，咱价钱慢慢落。所以2015来比的时阵，也就清正真多啦。所以这毋是累拍无，对无？这路标你马使去过，你看想咧是头脑拍无，对无？搁有。CBF 是咪你个累？国会有一个部长伊伫讲，伊讲 CBF 你做工，你入 CBF， 你个头家甲你入，对无？啊，政府有时甲你入，对无？特别是大选时阵，大部是甲你入，对无？所以伊讲个累参起来了，毋知是咪我个累咧？MP 讲，所以伊讲完了，大部长拍MP 和 BAB 大家拍泡泡咯，同意咧。用这个钱参了吗？毋知是咪人民的钱哦。所以咱真欢喜泡。连我伫咧想，我无啦，是表是我的钱。所以我伫咧想，东海岸有一个 MP 是无？伊讲逐日伊看到伊公积金的单，伊真欢喜咧。真欢喜，毋是你的钱，你欢喜做啥物鬼？对无 ？CBF 是你的钱。我有伫国会讲，你做少年的时阵，你爱甲咱控制，甲咱老调，甲咱较严会使。你爱 CBF 较严会使，人一老了，你就放较冷。一个人老人跋倒，接着无安尼紧好个，对无？有时无做工，这都去举钱。所以希望咧，你人大家会使投共人党一票，吼，互咱入国会，为你人天天讲话，好无？即摆我讲阿毛，用阿毛来讲吼。My fellow Singaporean, it is important to talk about the future of Singapore in this general election. It is also important to know that the PAP government is not a government of the future, but a ghost from the past. Because it has governed Singapore for 50 years, the PAP behaves like it is untouchable. It continues to intimidate anyone who dares to defy them. Its arrogance is unparalleled. Its tolerance for dissent is non-existent. One of the PAP candidates for Aljunied GRC said, the PAP candidate, all the young have the good life and they are asking for more, such as things like freedom of speech and so on. But if we are not careful with that, the next generation might run loose. And Singapore cannot afford to let that happen. I have faith in the next generation. I believe the next generation will not run loose. My greatest fear is, if the PAP is given a mandate and left unchecked, it will be the one that will run loose. Given its absolute power in Parliament, we are seeing PAP behaving badly ever so often now. Singapore cannot afford to have an unchecked PAP, and I will tell you why. On 21st November 2014, a PAP minister issued a statement that said, is the SNCC from Aljunied GRC residents being used to cover the deficit in Hougang TC? If so, surely residents of Aljunied GRC are entitled to know. And then he put in bracket, for financial year 2010, Hougang TC had an operating deficit of $92,000. Baying for blood, another PAP MP repeated this on 14 August 2015 and said, essentially what happened was this. Hougang Town Council was running a deficit. They took over Aljunied, a town which was in surplus following 2011 general election. They took over Punggol East from Pasir Ris Punggol Town Council, which was also in surplus. Now the whole Aljunied, Hougang, Punggol East Town Council is in deficit. We checked the books and found that the PAP conveniently left out the fact that Hougang Town Council had a surplus of $82,000 as of 26 May 2011 when it merged its account with Aljunied GRC. This figure is found in the audit report of the old Aljunied Hougang Town Council for the financial year ending 31st March 2012. This report was presented to Parliament on 22nd January 2013. It is highly mischievous for the PAP to make such a statement to alarm residents of Aljunied, Hougang, and Punggol East. This is the hallmark of a one-party state where the ruling members can withhold the fact and think that they can get away with murder. I repeat, Hougang Town Council has a surplus when it merged its account with Aljunied on 26 May 2011. 26 May was when we won Aljunied GRC. Residents of Hougang and Aljunied, I believe you are entitled to know why the PAP is hiding this fact from you. Today, when I flip open the pages of the newspaper, I couldn't believe my eyes when the headlines on page A7 read, AHPTC was back in the black after agent contract ended. ... KHAW call. That's probably Minister call. My fellow Singaporeans, the agent contract for AHPTC only ended on 14 July 2015. 3.5 months after our financial year had ended. What that means is the agent contract was still running as of 31st March 2015 when we closed our accounts for the financial year. Ms. Sylvia Lim explained that in the audit report that the turnaround from the annual deficit of the preceding 2 years to a budgetary surplus was brought about by a combination of factors comprising higher revenue, lower general and administrative expenditure, and savings in utilities due to the use of contestable energy. I am shocked the PAP had stood so low to spread careless remark that AHPTC was back in the black for the last financial year only after its agent contract has ended, when in fact there was no such thing. AHPTC has achieved a turnaround in its financial position on its own merit when the agent contract was still running. This is because we do know how to run a town council, and we can run it despite being handicapped by the loss of a multi-million-dollar town management system developed with SNCC money to a PAP-owned company. The PAP is trying very hard to paint the Workers' Party as one who will reward its friend with contracts. Let me state this. In no uncertain term, the Workers' Party has never set up any $2 private limited company to do business with Town Council. And we will never reward our friends with lucrative contracts. We welcome competitive bids from all parties. In fact, the Essential Maintenance Service contract in AHPTC was recently awarded to a company linked to the HDB because it gave the town a competitive bid versus the other tenderer. I guess fixing the opposition is more important to the PAP than fixing the MRT, the hospital bed shortage, and improving the Singaporean core in our workforce. My fellow Singaporean, the time has come to reject PAP's style of politics. The time has come to reject politics of intimidation, politics of divide, and politics of mudslinging. The time has come to empower your future. The future is something we, the citizen, must protect at all costs. Because if we allow the PAP to control every aspect of our lives again, we will all go back to the dark ages of politics, when citizens had no voice in the parliament, no say in the policy, and no recourse if government decides to increase the population to 6.9 million people. The Workers' Party voted against the population white paper, but nothing is going to change because the result was 77 votes for and 13 against. The PAP will take this as a clear endorsement of their population policy roadmap from you, the people, because all the elected PAP MPs present at the sitting supported the roadmap to increase the population to 6.9 million people. Let me tell you something interesting about the population white paper. When it was first tabled in Parliament on 4 February 2013, the Deputy Prime Minister Teo Chee Hean asked the House to endorse the population white paper as the population policy roadmap to address Singapore's demographic challenge. Population policy roadmap. The very next day, the PAP immediately tabled an amendment to drop the word population policy, after many Singaporeans expressed their shock and rejection of the population policy. The PAP also tried to sugarcoat the statement further by adding that it supports maintaining a strong Singaporean core by encouraging more Singaporeans to get married and have children. Supplement by a calibrated pace of immigration to prevent the citizen population from shrinking. And the last part is the best. And recognizes that the population projection beyond 2020 are for the purpose of land use and infrastructure planning and not a population target. Do you believe the PAP? Do you believe a well-thought-through population policy roadmap can be dropped or changed just like that overnight? In my 3 years of being an MP, I've never seen anything like that. That's why it is important for us to empower our future. Empowering your future goes beyond protecting your rights to vote without fear and intimidation. It involves helping to build a strong opposition, to stand up against the tyranny of the PAP. It involves ensuring that you, the voters, will never be taken for granted. The Workers' Party will never take voters for granted. When we lose in an election, we will try and try again. When the PAP loses, it doesn't take defeat graciously and gentlemanly. On the contrary, it will grab any opportunity to fix the opposition and punish the voters. Mr. Low Tia Kiang knows this very well. And they are doing it again to the residents of Aljunied, Hougang, and Punggol East. They are withholding your grant, despite the town council having filed its audit report on time. In the beginning, they said we must have an unqualified account before they release the grant. But did they apply the same standard to their own people? The People's Association, just now you heard Mr. Pritam Singh has said, had 6 years of adverse report from 2008 to 2013. Adverse is the worst opinion for audit report. But the grant to PA were not withheld, and continue to rise every year. Prior to 2008, PA had qualified reports as well. 1 year after the first adverse report came out in 2008, the government increased the PA grant to $300 million, a rise of $90 million from the previous year. When the second adverse report came out, the grant went up again. AHPTC had 2 years of qualified account, and your grant were immediately withheld. They say 3 strikes and you are out. But when PA received the third adverse opinion, the government grant went up by almost $38 million from the previous year. Mr. Lim Swee Say explained that the adverse opinion received by PA was due to the non-inclusion of the accounts of the grassroots organizations, or GROs. But it is not that simple. When auditor cannot do any field work on the GRO's account, they were basically saying, and I quote from one of the report, because of the significance of the matter described in the basis of adverse opinion paragraph, the financial statements do not present fairly the state of affairs of the association for the financial year. We are not talking about small sums of money here. As of 31st March, the total assets of the GROs amount to almost $300 million, and not a single cent of it was checked by external auditors of PA for many years. Mr. Lim said in Parliament that all their GRO accounts have been subjected to internal audit all these years. And that is the reason why he said with confidence that there was no irregularity at the system level. Obviously, the internal audits are not working very well, because otherwise, AGO would not have picked up so many things in their latest report on the GROs. I have highlighted in Parliament that AHPTC shared many similar lapses in with other ministries and statutory boards, but the treatment and attention AHPTC get is so different. My fellow Singaporean, the future of Singapore is indeed at stake. The future is not about running town council. We can run a town council as proven by our audit report. In fact, there are many managing agents who can run town councils as well. The future of Singapore is about getting our politics right. The future is about having leaders we can respect. The future is also about empowering ourselves to do what is right and good for the country. And what we have seen and witnessed from the PAP so far is not good for the country. The time has come to build a nation truly based on justice and equality and nothing less. The Workers' Party cannot do this alone. But together with you, we can change the future. We have done it before in 2011. We've done it again in 2012 and 2013. We will do it again come September 11. Vote Workers' Party, empower your future. Thank you.